everybody, this is Brick, and I'm back with another sorting Nerf bin with a particular purpose in mind. This bin is labeled number 3. I don't have a clever title for it. I'll be honest, I couldn't think of anything in wordplay or puns to come up with this one, but bin number 3 has the purpose of being a loner bin. This is something that I could bring to games in mostly stock form and mostly used form that I can share with people that don't have to take it too seriously. They don't have to be high-powered or high-performing blasters in any of these games. They're ones that could be used by anybody and very easily. Even if they've never used a Nerf blaster before, it should be very easy to use because these do not require batteries and these do not require any electronics. These do not require any magazines. You just load the darts in the front of them for most part and pull on a certain piece in the back and ready to fire. It should be very easy to explain for the most novice of Nerf players. This was inspired after a team takedown game that I had hosted with Garden State Nerf Squad, and I will have a video about the story time about that separately, which will be linked in the description below when it's available. This bin is actually built in reverse. I will be showing everything as we're loading it up instead of taking it all out because I did this before, it didn't work out, and I found a whole bunch of stuff that didn't work in that bin, and I've changed it up from that. So, here's the first one that's probably the best to start out with. A Night Finder. A very basic blaster that's very easy to understand how to use it. You pull on the ring from the back, you load a dart in the front, you have 2 darts you can store in the front, and you press this to pull the trigger. Now, normally you could add batteries into this thing, but it's only cosmetic. You only add that in if you want to have a flashing light in the front of it, which I personally don't have a preference for, and I don't think it's going to affect anyone's game. Most games are going to be done in bright lighting where this is going to be null and void, so this is still easy to use, and lucky for us, we not only have one of these to add in here, we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, wait, I'm dropping it, 6 Night Finders. 6 people that can play and in a very light way and a very easy to understand way. I'm happy with that. I think the performances between them might be a little varied because I have a lot of Nerf blasters that are either from my childhood or I've picked up from Nerf lots, most often from different lots, so different people, different mileage, whatever the case may be. Of these, I only have 3 variants of the Night Finder. I have the blue original one, which was from my own collection, and all the batteries have been taken out of all of these. We've got the black edition with yellow painting on it. We've got the black edition with orange painting on it, because why not be that particular? And we've got a dark gray version. I don't think that's going to matter too much to the newer players, but it is fun to have, and I'll figure that out sometime later. Up next, we've got 2 blasters that are, same color, or different colors, same design. The Rough Cut 2x4. Very easy to use, very pump action feeling. Could be good for larger hands and larger arm usage to be able to draw back that far. And it holds 8 darts and has rail attachment on the top of it. Very nice, very sleek, and I personally enjoy these as their own blasters. So, let's add those into the bottom here. Don't worry, the Night Finders will shape themselves up. We have a couple other ones in various amounts, whether or not they're Nerf branded, that basically perform the same way as the Night Finder or have the same functionality. This one is the HoverTech. 2 copies of it. And I will have more about the names of everything in the description down below if you want to see everything that I might have missed earlier in the video. So, this one pulls back, loads a dart in the front, and presses forward to fire. It's a little bit weaker than some of the other ones. I will have to try this out a bit more because it doesn't feel like you have to press that hard on the trigger in order to fire with it. And that could be either a good thing or a bad thing depending on the level of the user. So, that's available. It's a good option. And no doubt, This bin is not going to be the only one in this category. I'm sure there will be another bin like that, which I'll cover later, that will have the same mantra to it. Especially another bin that's going to be based on magazine blasters or battery-operated ones. Then we've got a couple of these things in blue, and there should be a green one. Ah, there it is. And a green one. I don't know offhand the make or the name of them, but very simple and straightforward. It's a revolver that holds 6 darts. You pull this back to load one ready, and you press this forward to fire. It actually has a nice spring to it. Definitely feels better than the HoverTech right off the bat. Although I will say that when this thing is pulled back, this does have a tendency to slide back and forth. So if you forget that and you push this all the way back and you're like, oh, I gotta load this again, you've already done that. I don't know if that's going to be too problematic, but I try to, figure this out along the way so that I have the least amount of issues with it later down the road. And this one much the same way, except somehow has a little rattle. I might need to figure that out. Now, we can't talk about simple Nerf blasters if we're not talking about this one. I believe it's called the Stormfire, but correct me down below, or editor correct me afterwards and call me whatever name you may. It's from Dart Tag. I've used it with the Capture the Flag kit, and I have one not only in green, but also in orange. And they very simply work. One in the front, and you can load 3 as storage, pull on the back here, and fires forward. They may avalanche. We've also got some Air Warriors Ultra Tech Stars. Again, very simple to use, another top priming function, and has an AR system very similar to a Triad, where it rotates between these of which one it fires out next. So, they work perfectly fine, and again, very easy to hold and easy to use. Speaking of which, why don't we add in the Triad? It's right in front of me. There it is. The Triad. I may also add in other Triads or other Jolts in here, because they're the most compact that are on the market currently. And much the same way, but the priming from the bottom of it for the handle. 3 darts, nice and small. I'm going to throw in here a strong arm. And I do have a whole bunch of strong arms and disruptors. So one in here is totally fine. I may add more to it later. This one, much like the Maverick, can upload with a button on the side, so you can make it easier to load the darts from the side of it through the drum. Store 6 in there, pull from the top, fires, and has a little buckling sound as it moves. I have figured out that's actually a common thing. I didn't realize that when I first got one. I thought that was a problem, but they seem to work perfectly fine. This one is much like the Flip Fury, and I'll probably add the Flip Fury in another bin sometime later, but this is a 0x shot version of it. Again, name will be up here, and whatever name I call myself as an editor later down the road. And very simply, has 12 darts. You pull this out to release each of the drums. You can swap it around. You may have to do this by hand as well, but you could also twist it by twisting the blaster with varying success. Top prime, and pull the trigger to fire. Nice and easy, once again. I'm gonna pass on the Firefly. This one uses an older type of darts, and I don't recall if it uses the Streamlines or Elites as we know them nowadays, as well as the ones that originally came with it. And I've also passed on that for old Mega darts and other things like that have also been in the Nerf storage. So things like this, even though I have a few copies of them and fundamentally work perfectly fine and they don't need batteries, I'm going to skip this one out just to be safe. I'd hate to have somebody realize that their blaster doesn't work well because it doesn't take the right darts. Here's another recent addition, the Quadrant. And while I did review this one before, I did have some errors on it because each of these lining up separately meant I didn't have them properly placed in. And I did not get some good performances then. So I will do retest with this, but it's a very compact blaster with 4 in the front and easily primes from the back. I may add the Alpha Strike line in here as well because they're also fundamentally without magazines or very easy to use and very lightweight as well, but I still have to break those open before I get to that. And again, could be in a separate bin of this part 2. We've got a Blitz Fire, and I believe I have a blue one around here somewhere. I haven't found it just yet, but the Blitz Fire, very easy to use. It's still on the market, I believe, in a 2-pack with a blue one, and pulls the front back, fires here, and can hold up to 6 darts. So, again, nice and lightweight. Yeah, I'm not only throwing Jolts and Triads in here. Eventually I'll throw Jolts in here. I don't have too many at the moment that I'm going to add in. But we've also got even some of the small Star Wars blasters. I forget which particular character this goes with. Might be Obi-Wan or General Grievous. But it's very simple. Top pram and loads a dart in the front. Fires. It's much like a reflex. This one I do believe works with them, but I'm going to just hold off on that for now, and we'll maybe bring it back in the part 2. This one I'm actually going to pass on, because even though it is a very self-explanatory thing, it does actually have the instructions on the side of it. That's how self-explanatory it is. I feel like this might be a little complicated at first. To release this, pull this forward, angle it up, load the darts in there, and then bring it back and fire. That might be too much depending on the age group, and that will be saved for the part 2 as well. I do also have a couple other copies of this in, I believe, the Sonic Ice or Sonic Green series. We have, I believe, is a Tech 10, as it holds 10 darts in the front of it, and much like the other smaller blasters, prime it from the top and fires from the trigger. So, very nice, very easy to go with. And just making sure that the barrel actually rotates. Let's see, what other tricks do I have up my sleeve? Well, for right now, the next thing I can think of is the Star Wars Clone Trooper Blaster, another original that I've owned. And this one is much like the Night Finder. It can have a red dart sight in the front of it, but it's really going to affect that much. I will take out the batteries from this because it's not changing much of it. This loads from the side as far as the prime. It's got one in the front and can blast forward. Much like the other Star Wars blasters, this might be fun for the aesthetic if kids like Star Wars and want to attribute to a certain character or type of character. This will work perfectly fine. Oh, and last but not least, here we go. The Switch Shot EX3. I have 2 copies of this, and one of them unfortunately broke on the side of it. But it's 2 copies of the one from the NERF N-Strike Elite game. These are the blue versions of them that came out in the second copy of the Wii game. I do have a yellow, and I'll probably add some yellows in here sometime later. But it works like a Night Finder, a ring pull in the back. Can pull and then just press the trigger to... There we go. I'm going to have to check you out. Hey, why... Yeah, you didn't want to catch before. You might have to sit on the sidelines. And you already have a broken piece, so I'm not happy with that already. This also did have a red piece on top of it that was removed currently, but I do still keep them. I will have one of these that will just sit in my collection as its own useful thing. I will also add tape onto each of these blasters so I can signify that they belong to my collection, just in case people bring their own, don't want to get them confused, and walking away with something that wasn't theirs, or vice versa. But yeah, this works very simply and has 2 dart storage. Well, other than a few things that I had to take out of here because of cosmetics or dart usage or that one switch shot that we saw, this is going pretty good. So I will have a follow-up video that will add more into here and also upgrade about all of that taping and whatnot that I mentioned earlier. There will be another entire bin in this category, and there will be other bins based on loaners. So stay tuned for those. Thank you for watching. If you have any recommendations, let me know in the comments below, and I will also have the names down as well, so you can find out about all of these on your own. We'll see you next time with more videos.